Alright guys, time for a quick little studio update video. This is sort of a work in progress video. We're almost done with this small Ultramarine commission, and once that's done we are moving on to our next big commission. So here's sort of where we're at now. This project we've been working on for a couple weeks, and we're finishing it up I think in the next day or so. So these are some Ultramarine stern guard. The client wanted the older fine cast models, and he particularly liked he had very specific color choices in mind. I forget what the blue is called, but it's an ultramarine blue, but it's not called that, it's called something else now. And a very, very warm reddish sort of gold color. I forget what these colors are called, ironically. Gehenna's gold, something like that. Anyway, one of the specific requests for this client was he wanted to use the old school fine cast models, and he wanted them all to have magnetized combi meltas. One of the nice things about magnetizing the weapons this way is that not only are they removable, but later what you can do is you can just buy the other bits and add those back on, and then you see that those can be magnetized as well, so you give them more options. Traditionally we charge $1 per magnet here, so for example each combi weapon costs $2, because one for the host magnet and $1 for the magnet on the combi weapon. Because the magnets are so small, you know, these are pretty sturdy, they stay on well obviously, but you know, they're not the strongest of magnets, unfortunately. So it's just one of those things that because it's such a small area you can only use a very, very small magnet. So part of the price for $1 a piece there is just the time to get that magnet into that small space, you know, and to just be able to take your time and do that. One of the other parts of this commission was a commander on bike, a chapter master on bike. So here is the chapter master. He's a kit bash from a variety of different models. The cloak, we got lucky. We've been holding on to this cloak for a long time. Originally this was a part of the Gabriel Seth kit, and we just had it laying around from a previous conversion. So that's one of the nice things about hiring a commissioned service to do your work, is that they have all their extra bits sort of laying around. Little OSL there on the gravity gun, and then you've got the bike, of course, some effects there, nice little yellow lens here in the front, which we're thinking about putting some OSL on that just to sort of tidy it up. And yeah, it looks good. The cloak we're particularly pleased with because it was our first attempt at ever doing a wet blending effect. Ooh. It's got some white on there from the doves earlier when I was working near the workstation. So yeah, you can see the dark recesses there in the cracks, but the higher areas have a nice brighter red, little gold filigree there on the tip. On the Thunderfire cannon, we applied the same effect that we applied to the Meltaguns, sort of this heat damage effect. So you can see that the Thunderfire cannon is getting really hot, which I think works really well. It's a combination of a variety of washes to get that to that stage, and I think it came out pretty good. And then this Gaunt model is supposed to mount on this guy basically like this, so he can be shield bashing a Gaunt as he drives by. I haven't finished that up yet because I wanted to be sure that if I do any OSL that the Gaunt didn't get in the way. So work in progress, but getting pretty close to being done there. Our next big commission is this ginormous Dark Angels commission, which is we're actually doing it in 2 parts. My assistant painter right now is helping me with the other half of this, and then I'm working on the main part. So the main part is basically Space Marines. You got Space Marines on bikes, Space Marines in Terminator armor. So prepping this project actually took quite a bit of work because we had to get them all mounted to make it easier to handle. It also comes with 3 Centurions, and it comes with 4... Oh, can you focus, buddy? Sorry, having a little bit of a hard time focusing. That's all right. And there's also 4 chapter masters in here, or masters of the fleet, whatever you call them. So here these guys come in. Let's see if I can't get it to focus on them. Maybe. It wants to focus back there for some reason. Not for sure why. Anyway. Okay, well, you get the idea. Here's all their backpats and stuff like that, and then tons and tons of magnetized options. Just magnets out the wazoo. So yeah, so that's one of our biggest commissions to date. It's probably, between this and the other faction, it's probably about 2,000 points, so it's almost a whole army. So yeah, it worked out well, and we'll be working on that over the next month. So stay tuned for that, and more exciting things to come. So that's it for now. Oh, I guess I can show you one other thing. Something fun. So I've said before, we like to kit bash a lot of different stuff. So we wanted to play with the Soul Grinder kit. We'd never had the chance to play with it before. So we picked up a Soul Grinder kit, and we were using the bottom legs for something else, but we had the top half left over. And the top half on the Soul Grinder is one of those weird parts because you really don't... It doesn't scale well with most of the other stuff in Fantasy and 40K. It's a little too big for a Demon Prince. It's a little too big. It's way too big for a standard Greater Demon. For the biggest Greater Demons, like from the Forge World line, it's a little small. So it's kind of right there in the middle. Finding legs that were appropriately sized to match it was difficult. These legs are from a Skeletor toy, which had all these sort of random bionic bits on them, and so I liked those, and I thought that worked pretty well. So what we did was we mounted that, and we began to do a little sculpting. He's obviously still in his very early stages. We applied a different top horn piece to this particular figure. I had this left over from a Cygor kit. I've been meaning to use this for a long time. So he's going to be a Cornish demon. So I think we're going to count him as a giant. Forge World makes this thing called a Siege Giant, which is basically a giant just mounted up in siege gear. So I think what we're going to do is make him a Cornish-themed siege giant. That way it'll sort of justify why he has this giant mechanical claw. And for the right hand, I think we're going to give him this big mace. So that's the plan right now. And these bits from another Skeletor figure actually scale really well. So you'd be surprised, we have a lot of just drawers full of old action figures in here that we use to cut up for some projects all the time. So obviously still a work in progress, got all our bits gathered in there. But it's coming along well. So that's it for now. Hope you enjoy our studio update. As you can tell, we're uploading more and more videos now, much more often, thanks to our new bloggy. Even though the bloggy ironically doesn't go live, the live feature isn't very well supported anymore, which is interesting. I guess that's what I get for buying the camera a year after its release. But that being said, the upload feature works fine when you just plug it in with a USB cable. No more editing for me. I'm just shooting and going. So that's it. Okay, so that's it. Till next time, put your minis where your mouth is.